Okay, let's start with the nation. Tinubu orders centralized security coordination. Kyari, subsidy removed to stop Nigeria from bankruptcy. Obey APC zoning, non-serving senators tell Kalu and Yari. Tribunal wants uncoordinated OBLP against wasting time. EFCC quizzes Fayemi for allegedly laundering 4 billion naira. Why federal government workers' May salary is delayed. Okay, which story are we starting with the nation?
Okay, let me start with major headline. So we had the CEO for NNPCL, that's Mr. Mele Kyari. He had gone to visit. He had gone to visit at the National Secretariat of APC, and he sat down with the legislators there and give an update on this petrol situation, fuel situation. So we know that just the day before he had given us a pricing template where the prices of fuel had risen from 185 naira per litre to between 488 and 577 naira per litre. But he was also explaining that taking away the subsidy was the right thing to do because as a country, if we hadn't done that, we would go into bankruptcy. We do not have the money to fund subsidy anymore. He even said that, in fact, the federal government is still owing NNPCL 2.8 trillion naira as we speak. And he also goes to show that many questions were asked of him and, the impact of this on regular Nigerians. And he says he admits that the masses would suffer some hardship, but he believes it's only for a short amount of time. Or in due course, it will fizzle out and, it will be much easier. But he says, to be honest, subsidy really is the people who enjoy it are mostly, like the elite. Are the main beneficiaries of the subsidy itself. It says that if you look at consumption, it is skewed towards Abuja. That's the highest consumption skewed towards Abuja, Port Harcourt, Lagos, and Kano. Most people in these areas have at least 2 cars. And for every time we get, he says, for every 3 liters, we get 100 naira subsidy. And so even the masses themselves, the rest, we get about 38% of the distribution, and then the rest goes into the other parts of Nigeria where the consumption is not as high as these particular places. So he just says that this is the best thing to do because we can't afford it. But he was also asked about the Ngote refinery, which he says that's a welcome idea, but it would not be able to take care of 100% of our demands right away. It will eventually get there, but not right away. And they're hoping that in July, August, we would see the refinery start producing.
Okay. July, August. Wow, that's a long time.
No, the country is still owing. So the money that they are saving, they're still going to be owing, paying that money. Let me take the update from the tribunal, because many Nigerians are really would like to know what's going on during the presidential election petition court. So yesterday, the Labour Party and the lawyers were asked to postpone, to request for his postponement because they seem to have been wasting time. According to the presiding judge, Haruna Samani, he was saying that they had delayed for about 40 minutes. The lawyers could not coordinate themselves, their activities for a seamless proceeding. So he said, you know what, if you guys cannot organize yourself, please let us postpone it. But if you recall, the lawyer for the LP, Awa Kalu, had initially requested for an extra requested for the postponement because 2 of their witnesses, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, fell ill. So he said they cannot allow another postponement, that they will wait to finish up and then be able to start the procedure. However, the day started off a bit funny because both councils for the INEC and the Labour Party were going back and forth on procedural documentation. And things just kind of started rough, but eventually the proceedings started, and we'll continue to monitor how that goes because Nigerians really want to know the fallout of the election tribunal that is ongoing.
Yeah, so President Bola Tinubu yesterday directed service chiefs and heads of security intelligence agencies to crush perpetrators of all thefts, saying his administration will not tolerate the menace. So he said that on his watch, insecurity will not bring Nigeria to her knees, while other countries record achievements in key sectors of the economy. So this, he gave the directive during the maiden official meeting with service chiefs, intelligence heads, led by Chief of Defense Staff General Lucky Irabo at the presidential villa in Abuja. And afterwards, they had to address journalists saying that they are trying to, he's going to be giving them a blueprint to tackle insecurity and maintain sanity nationwide. They said the meeting lasted for about 2 hours. This was the first meeting he was having with the service chiefs. He also said that he, not under his watch will he accept, all thefts, and he wants every security agencies to work in synergy. They must work together so that they achieve a common goal. He will not tolerate, any of their disagreements and, fights all around, because we must be working together. And once we can sort out the issue of insecurity, that will also affect our growth in the economy.
Okay, let's move on to the Punch. Dangote, Port Harcourt refineries, others won't change fuel prices, NNPCL. And oil theft, insecurity president orders service chiefs. New tenants flee with neighbors' 2 children in Abuja. Operators kick as maritime workers shut port on Monday. Beavers manipulated in over 20 Kogi polls. Naira trades 461 to the dollar at investors' window. CBN denies devaluation. USSD telcos issue banks disconnection notice. And EFCC grills Fayemi over alleged 4 billion naira money laundering. Okay, which story?
The human interest story. So 2 children were recently abducted at Bako area, Kwali Area Council in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And, they said, according to the story, 2 ladies who were tenants, new tenants of a particular area, just came to that area barely 2 weeks, and they had already started buying gifts for the children in the compound. Only for, on that particular day, the mother was praying and the last born was crying. So she now came with the guise of, let me buy biscuits for her so that she will not disturb you from the prayers, and took the little girl with the elder sister and disappeared. They looked and looked, searched. There were 2 ladies who came into the building. By the time they broke into their door, they realized that they didn't even have any properties inside. So it was well planned and orchestrated. The father, who was a security guard, was so upset, said he had been warning, the mom about these new people that have been buying things for the children. But because of the nature of his job, he was away most of the time and he wasn't able to. And it was just painful. Yeah, it's terrible.
2 children.
Terrible.
Really sad. You have that story in Punch?
Yes, I do. So this is between telcos and banks. So according to telcos, banks owe them 120 billion naira for using their USSD infrastructure for financial services, and so they have given a notice of disconnection. The telco says that then the telcos are saying, the contract between them and on the use of USSD for banking transaction is strictly commercial, and they are at liberty to withdraw their services if it is established that the transaction is not profitable to them. That's what they're saying. So telcos are saying, well, the duration of the notice is dependent on some terms of agreement. That means the disconnection is a function of if they respond with payment. If they respond with payment, we won't see disconnections. But if they don't, we'll start disconnections over the next days or weeks or months. They said since 2019, banks and telcos have been at loggerheads over who should pay for USSD services. Telcos stated that banks were owing them 32 billion for using USSD to offer financial services. As we all know, many Nigerians, that's how, especially those without smartphones,
that's the fastest way
to make transfers and do our financial transactions. Anyway, so we would hear what they do eventually. And I think this is going to be it will have a huge impact
on the consumers.
We're complaining about fuel subsidy removal, then we see that we're unable to do some transactions. And for me, the attitude of the banks is almost, well, take it if you want, take it if you don't. We'll still have our customers.
All right, we have to go on a break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Moving on now to Daily Sun. Tinubu talks tough to service chiefs. OBLP tender results different from INEX for Rivers, Benue, and 4 others. IGP approves promotion of 31,465 personnel. RLY youth plead with Yari to concede Senate presidency to Kalu. Maritime workers begin strike on Monday. 4 billion naira alleged fraud. EFCC are detained. Grills ex-Ekiti Governor Fayemi. Subsidy. Reps seek forensic audit of 413 billion naira CBN loan. and Mba outlaws Monday's sit-at-home in Enugu. Okay, let me start with the issue of cost of governance. So the former governor of Kano State, Senator, the senator representing Kano Central, Ibrahim Shekarau, has said that was speaking to the president, saying that she should have the political will to reduce the cost of governance by collapsing the National Assembly into one chamber. He said we just need one. We don't need to, left to him, we don't need to have two chambers in the two houses. According to him, it's costing the country quite a bit of having almost 500 legislators nationwide. He said, I don't think we need this much at the moment. He's saying that he urged further of cutting numbers of parastatals would affect the number of oversight assignments, reducing the burden on the nation. Then you discover that legislative, he also said that he has been subscribing to the idea of devolution of powers, which most Nigerians agree. The federal government should really cut its own costs by devolving a lot of responsibilities down to the line to local governments. And these are things Nigerians have always said and discussed, but he's saying that we should have just one chamber instead of multiple chambers. Okay.
Okay, so maritime workers under the aegis of Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, MWUN, are threatening to shut down post operations indefinitely from Monday, June 5th, 2023. They had a press briefing yesterday and they directed all their members to shut down operations of shipping companies and begin an indefinite nationwide strike from Monday. And this is as a result of the lingering disputes with shipping companies, which had to do with poor packages and welfare of employees. At the briefing as well, the President General of the union, Prince Adewale, said that since 2018, organized labor had been battling with the shipping companies on the minimum standard for shipping companies on the welfare of workers to no avail. Despite several ultimatums, interventions of the immediate past Minister of Transportation, Muazu Sambo, the shipping companies, mostly multinationals, are refusing to yield. And so he expressed the sadness that the working condition of the workers in the nation's shipping industry were nothing short of modern-day slavery, and that's why they are not going to hesitate to go on with this full-blown strike. And they're going to be asking for solidarity from the Nigerian Ports Authority, NPA, staff dock workers, NIWA, seamen, and water transportation employees, because an injury to one is an injury to all. I think they had given a 14-day ultimatum before, which elapsed, nothing was done, and then they are moving on to another 7 days, nothing was done. They are saying they are going to start this industrial strike from June 5th, if nothing is done again.
Okay. I was doing. Okay, let's move on now to Vanguard. Let's find a story of Nautic. Alleged foreign money laundering, AFC quizzes ex-governor Fayemi. Crush oil thieves, other felons, Tinubu, other security agencies. Almost 2,000 killed, 714 abducted in Nigeria between January and April 2023, according to reports. Senate presidency, Shatima pleads with Yari to concede to Kalu. We haven't devalued naira, says CBN. I was forced to sign presidential poll results in Kogi, Atiku's witness tells court. Tinubu misinformed on 10th National Assembly leadership, says source, as President meets Lawan and Gbajabiamila today. Presidential Tribunal will be tenders result of 6 states out of 18 and 115 local governments in evidence. Okay.
Yes, so in Abuja yesterday, there was a joint press briefing by Stephanos Foundation. This is a non-governmental organization focused on human rights and peace building, and also the Mogovo Development Association, MDA, in Mongo local government area. And they were just talking, the NGO really was gave us data on, violence and the impact that's happened between January to April of 2023, and the figures are alarming, as we're all aware. It says in that period, we've had 217 instances of attacks in 34 states across the country. We've recorded 1,872 deaths so far, 714 abductions, 65 injuries, and the reports released to highlight the urgent need for action to address the underlying causes of violence. I like what the advocate manager is, how she's described, that's her portfolio. She says a situation where armless and defenseless people are attacked in the middle of the night, killed with guns and machetes, houses burnt down, with their property looted and entire communities displaced is unacceptable. It is even worse when the attackers are unapprehended, let alone prosecuted. And she also says that there's a style, from eyewitness reports, there's a style to these attacks. And they say that the attacks are carried out in literally the same style, attackers dressed in similar fashion and victims with similar profile. And she goes on to name some of the towns that this has happened in recent times. She says the same thing in Agatu, Guma, Logo in Benue State, Kogoro, Zangon Kataf, Kajuru, Kafanchan in southern Kaduna, Basa, Riom, Barikin Ladi, and now Mangu. Remember the Mangu incidents. And, the people are still talking. They would like investigations to be carried out. Let me just take this part. It says that there is an impact of violence, even economically. 40% of farm produce from Plateau State comes from Mangu local government. And with this violence, what do you think will happen? People are not going to the farms. People are aggrieved. We need to see that there's investigation, you catch people, you prosecute them. That's what people need to see. Then it will give them confidence.
When I went to Abuja, I was driving past the Nigerian army, or this huge building. I'm thinking to myself, you think this is like the center for intelligence, everybody, they just know what's going on. No, it's always been there. I haven't seen it. It was my first time seeing it. But it's just that you think we have these huge institutions and they shouldn't have intelligence. Because if something is happening the same way over and over, same patterns, it should be traceable and be able to apprehend these people. Let's take another story in Vanguard. I was going to take the leader of Arewa Youth, Alhaji Yerima Shetima, has pleaded with Abdul Aziz Yari, the former governor of Zamfara State, and also a frontline for the Senate presidency. He said that he should concede to Abia State Governor, former Abia State Governor, that's Chief Whip Dr. Orji Uzor Kalu. According to him, says that this will strengthen the unity of the country. He's saying that there's a strong partnership between the North and the South, and that Senator Orji Uzor Kalu is one that when he becomes Senate President, he'll be able to, he's a detribalized Nigerian and will be able to bring the House together. He says that although Yari has a stronger number, I mean that he has 42 senators in the House, while Senator Kalu has only 27. He said, however, the two of them coming together with 69 senators under their fold, but it's strong enough for them to be able to have some kind of control. It was appealing that for religious balancing and for peace and unity in the country, the Southeast does deserve the Senate presidency in the House.
So the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has denied devaluing the naira, contrary to reports in the newspaper. Dr. Issa Abdul Momin, which is the Director of Corporate Communications, made a statement, and the statement reads in part, the attention of the Central Bank of Nigeria has been drawn to a news report titled CBN devalues naira to 630 naira to $1. We wish to state categorically that this news report, which in the imagination of the newspaper is exclusive, is replete with outright falsehood and destabilizing innuendos, reflecting potentially willful ignorance of the said medium as to the workings of the Nigerian foreign exchange market. For the avoidance of doubt, the exchange rate at the investors and exporters window traded this morning, June 1st, at 465 naira to $1 and has been stable around the rates for a while. So they are advising the public to ignore the news, and this is just speculative and is calculated at causing panic in the market. And media practitioners as well should make sure they verify the numbers from the CBN before printing in their papers.
Okay, we have to run a final paper. Let's find a story we've not taken. No more sit at home in Enugu. That's in Nigerian Tribune. Mba declares, we have not devalued the naira, says CBN. Tinubu, Lawang, Bajabia, Amila parley over National Assembly leadership positions. We were forced to sign presidential election results sheet. PDP witness tells court. And EFC quizzes Fayemi over the alleged $4 billion money laundering.